I've got something on the timing of English. There's this connected speaking, which is a little bit like joined up handwriting. It's much harder to read than if we say every word separately, people can hear it pretty easily, but we don't speak like that. In any language, really. Words just stream one into the other.
Like a flow, right?
There's no gap.
Yeah, there's no break. And when we look at voice samples on a wave reader, something that can read the sound waves that we're making, you'll notice there are no breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people don't break just because a word has ended.
The way this works in most languages is each syllable gets a fairly equal weight. So, por ejemplo en español, okay. Nihongo demo so desu. In Japanese it's the same. Nihongo demo so desu.
Right.
But English is different. It's not syllable timed. And
No, not at all.
This is what I want to talk about. And I made a little presentation for it. Just going to move on into showing you how we mark strong and weak. We use this diagonal line to show strong, and we use this upside down little kind of curvy thing to show a weak syllable. So what we're doing in English is, rather than giving an equal amount of time to each syllable, we're using the strong stress, giving more emphasis to that. And well, let's take a look at an example and you'll understand it a lot better.
Okay.
So I've taken something very simple here. I like fish, and we can say it different ways depending on the context. Who likes fish? I like fish. Okay.
I don't like fish.
Okay. The I gets the strong syllable here. I like fish. All right. Who likes fish? I like fish. Because I is the important word, answering who. You don't like fish. Well, actually you don't, but suppose you did. You'd say, hey, wait a minute, that's not true. I like fish. I like fish.
I like fish. Yeah.
Try and convince yourself there, Veronica. Try and sound as if you really believe it.
I'm trying.
But actually you don't.
I like shrimp.
Okay. So then that would be the third one. What do you like? And in your case, it would be not I like fish, but I like shrimp. Okay, so we could put the stress in any of those places depending on what the important word is, the important lexical item in that particular sentence. You can even have two, you can say something like, I like fish, or something like that. So we've got all these different possible combinations depending on the context. What I'm going to do here now is just give each syllable the same stress. I like fish. Okay, I'm flicking my finger and thumb here. I like fish. Okay, so each one gets the same amount of stress. Now let's look at this one. How do you think we might say that in English? Assuming we give it the same three stresses, because we may have a different number of stresses, but we quite likely say, I like a bit of fish. So I like fish and I like a bit of fish. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah, we've got three there.
Right. You've got the same three strong ones, but you've got three weak ones that are coming in between. But look what happens to the timing there. I like fish. I like a bit of fish. They're taking pretty much the same amount of time to say. We're not taking twice as long to say, I like a bit of fish. We're saying, I like fish and I like a bit of fish. All right? So this is what English does. It gives the amount of time to the strong syllables, and then the weak syllables just fit in between. And notice that we don't say, I like a bit of fish. We say, I like a bit of fish. The I gets weakened into sort of I like a bit of the a bit becomes the schwa, and of fish. I like a bit of fish. So let's look at another one. This is getting even longer, and again we can say this, and it would be perfectly natural to say it with the same three stresses. Where would we put the stresses this time? Have a think about it. Have a think about it. It would be like that. The normal, I mean, as I say, there are different options depending on context, but it would be very typical for us to say, there's nothing so tasty as fish. Dee-dum, dee-dee-dum, dee-dee-dum.
And it's three again.
Right, you've got three strong ones, and basically it might take a little bit longer, but roughly speaking, each one of those takes about the same amount of time to say. I like fish, I like a bit of fish, there's nothing so tasty as fish.
And if I tried that, I'm sure I would do the same thing.
Well, go on,
I
do
will
it.
just do a little test.
Uh-huh.
I like fish. I like a bit of fish. There's nothing so tasty as fish.
The last
I think
one,
I did that just automatically. That's the way I'm going to say it. Yeah.
right, and the last one was a little bit longer, but it's not like three times
Well,
or
not
nearly three times
seriously
as long
longer.
as the first one. It's a little bit longer.
We're not going to count the syllables and say that's how much longer it's going to be.
No. So
Yeah.
also, there's the pronunciation again. Look at this third one. There's nothing so tasty as fish. I'm not saying there's nothing so tasty as fish. I'm not giving the full pronunciation to those weak syllables. The weak syllables are getting kind of half pronounced. There's nothing so tasty as fish. So the weak syllables are weak. They're not fully pronounced. And if you're listening for the full pronunciation, you're not going to get it. You need to be listening, focusing on the lexical content words, the important words, nothing, tasty, fish. Those other words are filling in the grammar, filling in the structure. But the basic content is nothing, tasty, fish. Nothing so tasty as fish.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I often do a little exercise similar to that, John.
Okay.
An apple,
Right.
a red apple, a delicious red apple.
Right.
You know, there really wasn't much more time spent on a delicious red apple, but it has a lot more syllables.
That's right.